All right, well, we are ready for my guest. He is a certified holistic personal trainer. He's intensely passionate about holistic health. He is a member of the African Hebrew community, which is based in Dimona, Israel. He himself is now based here in the Atlanta area. And at a young age, he was very mature in spirit. I call young people who are mature in spirit, they have old souls. That's a compliment. They have old souls. He is just an advocate for wellness. He's been following a vegan diet for most of his life, and he definitely walks the talk. He practices what it is that he preaches. He's compassionate, and he just loves to help others. And he is the owner, CEO, founder of Lion of Judah Fitness Club. He is here to chat with us a bit this evening. Please put your hands together and welcome my guest, Mr. Yorai Ben Ariel Hebraic, also known as Tory Wiley. Hey, my brother.
Thank you for the wonderful, wonderful introduction, and thank you for having me on the show, Miss Paula.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, correct my pronunciation in the event that I was incorrect.
So, of course, Tory Wiley is pretty easy, but you're right,
Yeah.
the IDL. You said everything right, except the last part, the IDL. The IDL part is how you say that, but that's it.
IDL, gosh, I had two different, and that was the second version. All right. That was the second. I had two of them down here, so I'm gonna try it. Wow, you know what? So okay, so I've been on this show for the last maybe 5 or 6 years, I believe, and each year I always have I devote a month to youth entrepreneurs, and that particular month is devoted for young businessmen and women under the age of 18. But I realize that in addition to being on the radio for 5 years, I've also been in education almost 20. So a lot of you now are well over the age of 18, have gone on with your lives, graduated from college, probably gotten masters, families, and have now gone into the realm of entrepreneurship and owning your own businesses. And you are now a businessman. And I just want to say I'm so incredibly proud of you and your journey of walking in what it is that you are gifted to do and are called to do.
Thank you. I so appreciate it.
So share with us a bit of how all of this came to be. How you started on this journey and how you wound up as CEO and founder of Lion of Judah.
Absolutely. So, first of all, Miss Paula, I guess our spirits have just been following each other because I transferred to a high school where she was a counselor at, and then end up seeing her years later working at the first gym job that I had. And so it was like, wow, there you go again. So we are definitely continuing to meant to cross paths. So
yes,
as far as how I got here, it's pretty much has been in alignment with most of my life. So in the bio you read, me being a member of the African Hebrew Israelite community, which is basically a community that left America in the late 1960s, and we reestablished ourselves in the southern part of Israel, where we grew our community to a couple thousand members now. We're the largest vegan community on earth, and we are one of the largest holistic health communities that practice holistic health and healing. So it is not to my own doing. My father took that route and was back and forth from Israel and here, and so that was his lifestyle. And so, of course, he implanted it into his children. And so growing up, I've always had an advantage as it relates to, natural healing and natural health, and it always has caught my attention. So much so that when I came of age to where I was at a crossroads whether to continue my sports career and go to college and play sports and things like that. I actually just kind of had a talk with myself and was like, hey, is this really what are you trying to make it all the way, or like what do you want to do? And Miss Paula, don't get me, but I felt like the only reason why I really did school anyway was because of sports, and because I always knew that I was going to make something of myself,
right?
Outside of the regular way that most people do it, and so once I decided I didn't really want to play sports as it relates, I was learning more about like concussions and things like that as it relates to football, and I'm like, you know what? I want to open up a family business. And it just so happened that one of my brothers, which I have a lot of family, I have four brothers and 5 sisters. And so one of my brothers and my father at the time had just gotten their personal trainer's license. So when it clicked, I said, you know what? Boom. We need a personal training and wellness company. So at the age of like 18, 19, I just started putting it all on paper, writing out what it would look like and all these kind of things. And I said I would go get a job at a gym and work there for a couple of years, learn the system and the business of that industry, and then I would break off on my own. And that's exactly what I did. And now I am here.
Old soul. That's that mature spirit. And I don't know if you heard the first part of the show when I was talking to the audience about, speaking to your I am. What is your I am? What is it that you're gifted to do? What is it that's in your soul? Not just like you said, a job working somewhere, but what is actually your I am based on what it is that you are gifted to do. And one of the things that I mentioned, and you just nailed it, one of the things I mentioned is in order to answer that question, you must have a conversation with yourself. And you said that because you were like, okay, I had this conversation with myself about, okay, do I want to do sports? Because I've researched about concussions and all these challenges and, based on your family background and so forth, you just kind of weighed your options, used wisdom, listened to that higher voice, I believe, and then put the plan on paper, took that dream, put the plan on paper, and began the journey to making it happen. And something else that you said about working at a gym to learn the craft, to learn how do I do this thing before I take that leap of faith and step out on my own. So, ladies and gentlemen, perfect example right here, just what I was talking about earlier. The perfect example right there. We can drop the mic and pass the plate. But that's a perfect example. So what were some of the challenges, because we may have audience members that are listening to that journey and they've been inspired, but there might be questions like, okay, how did you start your own business? How did you actually open the doors to a brick and mortar?
Yes, absolutely. And just really quick, going back to, I did not hear the first part of your show, but going back to what you said, I am, someone shared with me before, I am, the acronym is intention, action, manifestation.
Oh, I like that. Intention, action, manifestation. There you go.
You have the right intent, you put the right action behind it, and you have no choice but to manifest what it is that you went after.
Yeah, and you're a witness to that.
Correct.
I am. You're a witness to that. Wow.
Correct.
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely. No worries. To answer your question, challenges. Ooh, man, I face challenges. Dang, I think they had to invent another word. Oh man. So the kind of turmoil that has transpired as relates to just being on the entrepreneurship journey, a lot of movements, when you look at traditional and history and things like that with a lot of mass movements, they oftentimes start with young people.
Right.
And the reason why is because young people are zealous enough to believe that they can actually accomplish it, but they're also not experienced enough to have a lot of damage to where it would stop them from going and the trauma that they have had before. Now it becomes a mental game.
Oh, you got to say
So,
that again. You got to say that again. Say it again. Say it again.
yep. So to sum it up, young people are zealous enough to believe in that they can actually change the world. As a saying that says, the only people that can actually change the world are the people that's foolish enough to believe that they can.
Exactly.
So young people have the energy and the desire and the, just overwhelmingly, I can do this,
Mhm.
but they don't have the damage that somebody who may be a little bit more experienced, who would, be like, well, I got to weigh out my options here. What's
Mhm.
it? And so then you become in a state of paralyzation if that's the case. So what happens is rarely do someone who starts off and take that first step, and now they've been stepping for a minute, have the same thought process, but what happens is it's the will and the desire to keep going because you already made that first step.
Mm.
So now you do whatever it takes, and you have, as a young person, you have a lot more energy to be able to recover faster from your mistakes. Liken it
Right.
to somebody working out. You recover just a lot quicker when you was in your 20s versus in your 40s. That's just, we know that.
Oh, yes.
Well, anything that's true in the physical form, and the principle is true in the physical form, it also must be true in the mental and spiritual form as well, and vice versa.
Right.
So, for me personally, I stepped foot out and was like, hey, let me start a family business. Not knowing nothing about entrepreneurship, accounting, marketing, sales, none of that stuff, okay? And so when I did it, though, what it made me do, because I had a commitment and an expectation, now I had to learn what I had to learn in order to get to the target. So
okay.
That's a process. But what ended up happening was the smaller successes along the way gave me the confidence to say, you can do this continuously.
Mm-hmm.
And the Creator had to be walking with me, because literally looking back on it, I have no idea how I ended up here and the amount of time. And I give you a short story just to kind of let you know, as it relates to that. I ran into one of my favorite, if not my favorite, Instagram fitness influencer who is, in his late 30s, mid to late 30s, very mature, and he's great at what he do, tons of followers. And I just remember going up to him when I was about 22 years old, 23 years old, and I remember going up to him, and I seen him like in Atlantic Station, and from seeing him, I remember going up to him and saying, basically how inspirational he is for me and all that kind of stuff. And I remember he looked at me and said, oh, okay, you're a trainer? I said, yeah. He said, all right, what do you train at? And I said, well, I own my own gym. And he looked again at me and said, wait, how old are you? And I said, I think it was like 23 at the time. I said, I'm 23. I didn't think nothing of it. And he was like, man, I don't know what to tell you. And he was like, I don't know what to tell you. You're ahead of me. And he just walked away.
Wow. You blew his mind.
But for me, that was just, it was an elevation. So how I got here and the challenges that I had to face, I would not, if everything dropped today, I would be extremely grateful and happy. The reason why is because the things that I have learned, I would be able to be successful over and over and over in different industries, because I've learned the principles from the challenges that I had to face, especially not having any capital starting when I started.